stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Good morning, Idaho. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. This morning, Idaho News 6 is bringing you more local stories than anyone else from our team of neighborhood reporters. In the Magic Valley, neighborhood reporter Lorian Nettleton this morning highlighting a Buell man who's braved 34 days in the South African desert to win the latest season of the critically acclaimed show Alone. And for that, he won $500,000. Plus, coming up at 6:30, Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis shares the story of two dogs protecting their home from an intruder, one of them getting stabbed in the process. The homeowner also sharing what they describe as a disappointing police response. We'll get to those stories coming up in just a moment. But first, the latest on our weather. Sophia Cruz joins us. For those who don't know, she's a big runner. You've been running, what, 4.5-minute miles?
Yeah, 4.5-minute miles, exactly. Just so everyone knows.
Said 2 miles in 9 minutes.
I didn't have my first cup of coffee yet, guys. When you don't have your first cup of coffee in the morning, it really affects your brain fog. I meant to say I ran 2 miles yesterday, and both of them averaged about 9 minutes, and I thought that was pretty good. Either way, if you are maybe heading out to run your 4-minute mile this morning, it's nice and cool, especially if you're waking up at Sun Valley. Here's a good look. Cloudy start to the day, so already big changes from yesterday. We're sitting in the mid-50s, and if you didn't hear it, yesterday they announced their opening day will also be coming November 24th. So the seasons are coming, and as we wait for the seasons to come, we get that first taste of fall this week. So today, partly sunny, going to be nice and cool throughout the afternoon, but we will be looking at unsettled weather as we move through Friday. On top of that, we're going to see those 70s make a return. So it's going to be a pretty good week ahead. I'm excited for the weekend rolling.
Yeah, all right. Fall is on its way. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We start this morning with a developing story. The Eagle Police Department says a second suspect has been arrested in connection to a kidnapping case in the Eagle foothills. Police say 21-year-old Devin Larson is facing a felony charge of second-degree kidnapping. The update came just hours after the initial suspect, 22-year-old Steen Lamb, appeared in court. Eagle neighborhood reporter Greenlee Clark was in the courtroom and has the latest on the charges against Lamb.
We're learning shocking new details about a kidnapping plot that left a man tied up and badly beaten in the Eagle foothills. I'm your Eagle neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark, with new details about what prosecutors say happened and what we know about the suspect himself. 22-year-old Steen Lamb is charged with second-degree kidnapping and misdemeanor battery, accused of luring a man to the Eagle foothills for a photo shoot before prosecutors say he tased, tied up, and badly beat the victim.
Do you understand the 2 charges that have been made against you? All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
In court, prosecutors shared more about what the victim said happened last Thursday night. He told police he met someone online who was going to take photos of him with his motorcycle. The victim showed up to the Eagle foothills and met a man he didn't recognize.
After taking one photo, the victim was tased in the back and fell to the ground.
Prosecutors then say Lamb and an accomplice tied up the victim's hands and legs, dragged him away from his motorcycle, then put a bag over his entire body before repeatedly kicking and beating him in the face and chest. The victim told police he knew the suspect and recognized Lamb's voice and could even see his face through his mask. At one point, he says he could see through a crack and saw a gun pointed at his chest. The victim told police Lamb has murdered before.
The defendant has no prior criminal history, but there are great concerns based on the nature of the crime.
Lamb's public defender said he's lived in Idaho for 5 years and has worked as a firefighter for the Hagerman Fire Department for the last 6 months. He's being held on a $500,000 bond. No word yet on a second arrest for the alleged accomplice. Lamb is expected back in court on September 22nd. Reporting at the Ada County Courthouse, I'm your Eagle neighborhood reporter, Greenlee Clark for Idaho News 6.
A motorcyclist is dead after police say he slammed into the back of a dump truck and then fell into the oncoming lane where he was hit by a cement truck. It all happened on Pleasant Valley Road around 7 a.m. Monday morning. Police are still investigating the crash. If you have any information, call dispatch. A pair of investigations finds Boise police officers were justified when they shot and injured an armed robbery suspect on the West Bench last year. This due to the danger he presented to officers and the public. The Office of Police Accountability still offering several recommendations, including more drone training and training to reduce stress so officers don't yell phrases like "I'm going to expletive kill you," as one officer did during this incident. They also found multiple officers should have activated their body cams sooner.
Older
Idahoans and folks with disabilities can catch a ride for free around the Treasure Valley with Valley Regional Transit. I'm your neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey, riding along and learning more about their Beyond Access program that gets people from point A to point B outside of their usual service area.
Hi, good. How about yourself?
I never know.
You never know.
Fern Brandt catches a ride with Valley Regional Transit at least 3 times a week.
I'm legally blind, or I like to say I have enough vision to be dangerous.
She uses the free service to get from her home in Nampa to work in either Caldwell or Boise.
Beyond Access has been very beneficial in allowing me to stay employed.
She tells me the program helps give her and her fellow riders freedom.
The bus system is helping me have the ability to live independently.
Beyond Access started in 2024 and expanded Valley Regional Transit's service area far beyond their fixed routes.
It's really expanded the horizon of what kinds of things you can do with these rides.
Valley Regional Transit CEO Elaine Clegg says the program is funded locally and combined a web of smaller providers around the valley into one cohesive one, giving riders easy access across Ada and Canyon counties. If this program sounds like something you could use, I'll have all the info you need to get signed up in this story on idahonews6.com. I'm Brady Caskey reporting for Idaho News 6.
Heads up for hikers. 2 sections of the trail at Table Rock will be closed for most of the day today, so crews can apply some all-weather material to help combat muddy conditions. The iconic hike draws big crowds of visitors, and the city hopes the upgrade will help preserve the trail as the weather turns. If you're set on hiking today, you can still access Table Rock via the trailhead that starts near the Warm Springs Golf Course.
Have you ever wanted to just get away from it all? Head off into the wilderness and live off the land?
How long could you survive in the wilderness without assistance, without a gas station nearby, without social media? I'm your neighborhood reporter Lorian Nettleton in the wilderness outside of Buell, where I met with lifelong Buell resident Nathan Olson. He knows a thing or two about survival. He was able to do it long enough to win the 12th season of the reality TV series Alone.
34 days.
That's how long Nathan Olson spent in South Africa's Karoo Desert, alone.
It just so turned out for me, having been raised here in southern Idaho, running around in this desert, that I felt at home there in South Africa.
As one of 10 contestants in the 12th season of the History Channel's reality series Alone, Olson was dropped into the South African wild with just 10 survival items.
It's not for everybody. Like, some of us kind of like to hide out and be alone. That's what I did right here as a child so much.
Olson's been practicing wilderness survival his whole life. His father pretty much wrote the book on it.
This book made him a little bit famous. It was a national bestseller back in the 70s. Spent all his time trying to replicate how the original people here in the Great Basin survived.
Nathan isn't the first Idahoan to succeed in this series. He's not even the first member of his family to be seen on the show. His younger brother Luke lasted 22 days in Saskatchewan in season 10.
Right in this area. My brothers and I, we roamed all this country. And so when I was out there, it felt a lot like that experience, just going out into the wilderness and having a good time.
This is the environment Nathan grew up in, helping teach others how to survive, as well as some mindset skills to keep moving forward despite hunger or disappointment.
A lot of anxiety and depression out there right now, and a lot of screen time happening. And we found that a great intervention is just take a break, be out in the wilderness for an extended period of time, has a tremendous therapeutic effect.
If you want to find out more about how Nathan was able to survive, the 12th season of the History Channel's Alone is available on streaming. We'll have links to that on this story on our website, idahonews6.com. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Lorian Nettleton, outside of Buell for Idaho News 6.
New Jeffrey Epstein files have been turned over to Congress and released to the public, including a birthday card allegedly signed by President Trump with a lewd drawing and creepily suggestive text. Details coming up. It's 11 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at your national headlines this morning. South Korea's top diplomat is in the U.S. today at a tense moment for relations between the countries. Foreign Affairs Minister Cho Hyun is visiting Washington as about 300 South Korean nationals are detained in Georgia. That's where ICE and other law enforcement raided a Hyundai plant last week. Korean Air says It could start flying home the detainees tomorrow. The raid is causing outrage, though, in South Korea. Its businesses are investing billions in the U.S., much at the behest of President Donald Trump. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett is set to release a new book Tuesday called Listening to the Law. At age 53, Barrett is the youngest member of the court. She says she wrote the book to make the nation's highest court more accessible to non-lawyers. In it, she defends her vote to overturn Roe v. Wade, which offered abortion protections. Barrett was reportedly paid an advance of $2 million for her memoir. She is on a media tour right now promoting it. Meanwhile, President Trump is amping up his promise to send National Guard troops and immigration agents to Chicago. His comments follow a weekend social media post where he parodied an image from Apocalypse Now with helicopters over the city of Chicago. He wrote he loves the smell of deportations in the morning and that Chicago will find out why it's called the Department of War. Chicago is among several Democratic-led cities that the president has targeted for expanded federal enforcement, and it comes as the Supreme Court clears the way for the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, now allowing ICE agents to target people for deportation based on their race or language. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the latest.
This morning, the White House firing back after the Republican-led House Oversight Committee said it's obtained the so-called birthday book from Jeffrey Epstein's estate through a subpoena. The book, a collection of messages given to Epstein for his 50th birthday, includes this one allegedly from President Trump, which the president has denied is from him. Democrats on the committee posting the letter online with a crudely drawn outline of a woman's body around lines including, "We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that?" And at the bottom, this: "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." The alleged letter had a typed signature, Donald J. Trump, and underneath, handwritten in thick marker, Donald. When the image was first reported by the Wall Street Journal in July, President Trump called it fake and sued the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion.
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name.
Following yesterday's release, the White House press secretary saying President Trump did not draw this picture and he did not sign it. Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, who's filed a petition to force a vote on releasing the Justice Department's Epstein files, calls it a distraction.
It doesn't prove anything. Having a birthday card from Trump doesn't help the survivors and the victims. It doesn't name an additional new person.
The so-called birthday book was compiled by Epstein's accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, who is serving 20 years in prison for sex trafficking. Ghislaine Maxwell spoke about the book in a recent interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who used to be Trump's personal lawyer.
I coordinated the putting together of the book, and in some instances I called people to ask them to contribute.
Saying she didn't remember if Trump contributed a message to the book. The book was given to Epstein in 2003, 3 years before he was convicted of sex crimes. Contributing to the book is not evidence of wrongdoing or knowledge of it. All 212 sitting Democrats and 4 Republicans in the House have now signed that petition to force a floor vote compelling the Justice Department to publicly release all of the Jeffrey Epstein files, now 2 signatures shy of the 218 needed. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
All right, 6:17 is your time, and thanks for starting another morning with us. As you get ready for the start of your day and even just the week ahead, you're going to want to grab the umbrella and keep it with you. We'll be looking at some unsettled weather as we move through this week, but also it's the first taste of fall. So if you grab your pumpkin spice latte this morning, you've got mid-60s as you head out over downtown. As we make our way through the next couple days, you'll notice clouds slowly increasing. Even right now, we are waking up to a cloudier start along Idaho, but also some showers. And the big weather maker and what's doing it for us is this upper level trough we have moving inland. So as this starts to move inland, that low pressure system follows in front of it, and that brings in all of the clouds, bringing in some showers from Medford down to Redding. So cooler weather is slowly making its way onshore. As it does, that's when you'll start to really notice more so the rainy pattern and nice comfortable 70s. If you like fall, this will be a good week for you. But even if you like some rain, this is a good morning. Just a heads up, from Baker City down to LeGrand, even McCall and Cascade, we do have some scattered showers moving through those areas. Also, another spot that's looking heavier this morning is from between Fairfield and Ketchum. Again, there are some heavier spots in this, but otherwise you should be okay for your morning commute. The rest of us look really dry right now, so it isn't going to be widespread rain today. That's what we'll be looking at for tomorrow. As far as high temperatures go, this is where things get good. You got those nice comfortable mid 80s, and in our mountains upper 70s continuing on. And as we go through the next couple days, you'll notice that we are looking at a cooling trend overall. So you get 79 into Wednesday, 73 by Thursday. This will be the coolest day of the week ahead. 74 into Friday, and then take a look at the weekend. We hover with the upper 70s both Saturday and Sunday, and right now we aren't looking at any rain for the weekend, so the weekend is going to be really nice for any outdoor activities you may have. It looks like we may see a 90 return as we head into the end of next week, but just a heads up, we've got some time before we get there. Taking you through your next couple hours, it's a cloudy start waking up. You'll notice that we see showers organized over Stanley and in Ketchum, even portions of our west central mountains. Then move the page over to tomorrow around 4 o'clock. It's quiet along our valley floors, but you'll notice eastern Oregon and our west central mountains will start to see some scattered showers moving through. It will grow heavier, and by 11 o'clock tomorrow, we will be looking at that first band of heavier rain moving through. So a lot of this isn't necessarily affecting us majority of our day. It's going to be overnight is what it's looking like right now. So something I'm going to keep you posted on, just because we have to watch out for your morning and afternoon commutes. But either way, rain expected through at least Friday as we touch into the mid 70s. Then over the weekend, nice and sunny, upper 70s. And then we'll see a slight chance of rain, it looks like, into Monday again. I'll keep you up to date right here throughout your morning, and in your next half hour, I also have your updates on your roads.
In Southeast Boise, how students are kicking off Suicide Prevention Week, using sidewalks to spread hope and awareness. School sidewalks just got more colorful across the Treasure Valley in an effort to prevent student suicide. I'm your Southeast Boise neighborhood reporter, Sahana Patel, at Timberline High School, where students teamed up with Boise State athletes to chalk the walk and spread awareness for mental health.
We need a reminder to get rid of the stigma around it, because there is such a negative stigma.
And that reminder is now written in colorful chalk at Treasure Valley schools, like Timberline High. It's part of Chalk the Walk, a citywide event hosted by Boise State's student-athlete-led mental health initiative, Boise Bold. This year, they teamed up with 31 schools to turn sidewalks into signs of hope during Suicide Prevention Week.
It's a heavy topic, so it's important to spread positivity.
Timberland's Hope Squad, part of a national suicide prevention program in schools, partnered with Boise Bold to host the event. Boise State student Jessica Newkirk interns with Timberline teacher Mr. Gonser, who leads the new program on campus. Newkirk says she was drawn to the squad because of her own challenges.
When I was younger, I definitely struggled with my mental health, and I know so many people struggle.
The Hope Squad aims to leave a positive mark on their peers, even after the chalk fades.
I think just walking outside and seeing all the positive messages is really important, just to kind of brighten everyone's day.
Timberline High School and Boise State will each host events throughout the week. I'm your Southeast Boise neighborhood reporter, Sahana Patel, for Idaho News 6.
Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Idaho this morning. We have much more in store. Here's a look at what's still to come in our last half hour from your neighborhood reporters.
In Caldwell, how a dog has become her home's hero.
Middleton's only food pantry is struggling to keep up with growing demand, and volunteers tell me they're hoping for a bigger and safer space.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Here we go into our last half hour on a Tuesday. Good morning, Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. Still a lot to get to in this half hour, though, from our large team of neighborhood reporters, bringing you more local stories than anyone else in the market. Like a story new this morning, our Victoria Rodriguez takes us to Middleton's only food pantry as they struggle with growing demand in an aging building. Volunteers share what you can do to help. Plus, stick around until 6:45. I bring you an Idaho News 6 exclusive on a lawsuit surrounding a local woman who spent $28,000 on a used car only to have it break down just days later. A lot of people buying used cars these days, but that all left her with expensive repair costs and car payments. We'll tell you how to avoid all that. First, though, let's bring in Sophia Cruz with the latest on our weather as we start the day. It's looking like a cooling trend, but a nice day, hopefully.
Yeah, it is going to be a really nice day, Roland. So for the kiddos getting ready for the bus stop this morning, it's going to feel nice and cool. You may just want to grab the light jacket and the water bottle because as we head into the afternoon, we will still be on the warmer side. You've got lower 80s coming home from school, partly cloudy skies. We'll still see some sunshine throughout the day, but today we'll actually be looking at some isolated showers. Now, a lot of it being focused over our east central mountains to our west central mountains. If we see anything here, it would be very minimal, and it's not going to be a washout for us. But tomorrow, notice that we start to see heavier rainfall amounts as you make your way over into eastern Oregon, and just a higher likelihood of us to see rain, period. But over into our east and west central mountains, the same trend continues. So it looks like tomorrow we'll be looking at some widespread rain rolling, and as we end our week, we'll actually have some 70s, so it'll feel like fall.
Yeah, it's definitely hitting fast. All right, thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We turn now this half hour to a pair of heroic canines protecting their home from an intruder. One of them actually got stabbed in the process, and the homeowner is also sharing what they describe as a disappointing police response. Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis reports.
Imagine coming home from work to find your dog in a pool of blood and more blood smeared around your home. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis, and that's exactly what one man tells me happened to him. Finding his injured dog, he says stepped in to protect her home.
Just all over the house, just nothing but blood.
It's an image Ian Cameron says he can't get out of his head after he found his beloved pet dog Raven, and inside the home,
Fork sitting on the floor and a bloody boot print by my front door.
he tells me someone broke into his Caldwell home earlier this month, but the burglar didn't expect to be confronted by the family's pet. He says Raven and her sister Lady aren't just dogs, they're family, and Raven stepped up to protect her own. And before rushing to the vet, he called 911, but ultimately unimpressed with the way it was handled.
They just came in, walked through, took pictures, and didn't try to take any blood, didn't try to take a size or sample of the boot print.
He thinks the intruder must have entered through the back door, which was unlocked with a broken doggy door, but he hoped police would make the case a higher priority. Caldwell police tell me they knocked on neighbors' doors and did what they could, but there wasn't enough evidence to move forward. Their advice, lock every door and repair entry points that could let an intruder in. As for Raven, she's healing and wagging. While Raven is still recovering, Ian tells me he wants justice for his dog and hopes to stop it before it happens to anyone else. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis for Idaho News 6.
An update on a story we first brought you on Monday morning. At a public meeting last night, the City of Boise's Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve a controversial rezoning in a West Boise neighborhood on 5 Mile Road near Comba Park. And the move clears the way for a proposed project that would add 45 townhome-style housing units to the neighborhood. Our Brady Caskey previously shared the concerns of longtime residents in the area who said the proposed plan would be much taller than the surrounding homes and voiced concerns about the strains of increased traffic in the area. A representative with Todd Campbell Construction responding to concerns last night, saying that the hearing was in regard to rezoning only, and when it went to a vote, all commissioners present voted in favor of approval. Good news for Valley County residents. All evacuation warnings have now been lifted for folks living in and around the Rock Fire burning near Tamarack Resort on West Mountain. Crews have the blaze now 92% contained, and they expect to have it fully contained next week. The lightning-started fire has burned about 2,800 acres since it sparked in mid-August.
This This building behind me is home to Middleton's only food pantry, a place hundreds of families rely on every month. I'm your Canyon County neighborhood reporter, Victoria Rodriguez, and I spoke to volunteers and clients about how the growing need is colliding with an aging building. The pantry has been serving this community since 2013, but volunteers say the building isn't keeping up with demand. Families get to shop for themselves, which makes it unique, but space is tight and conditions can be challenging.
Our mission is to provide some food security for folks that are struggling in our community.
That mission now reaches up to 135 families a month, feeding nearly 750 mouths. But as Middleton's population has grown, volunteers say the pantry is struggling to keep up.
We're grateful to have this building, right? Things could be much worse. But as our function here grows with the need that's growing, we're sort of outgrowing the size of this place.
Tom and his wife, who is blind, rely on Social Security and this pantry to make ends meet. He says the cramped space and extreme temperatures make it difficult for volunteers to serve families safely.
That can't be done here. And the folks inside need enough room to move and do their job proper too. They do the best job they can, and it's very difficult for them.
Corey Ann Bates has been coming to the pantry for years. With a family of 6, she says it helps stretch her grocery budget and provides fresh produce. She does, however, worry about keeping the food safe in the current space.
If it's not air conditioned enough, that would make the food spoil.
The pantry runs completely on volunteers, about 50 in total, who all share the same goal, giving back to the community they love.
It's a blessing to live in Middleton, Idaho. And I have a big heart for this community, and as does every volunteer here.
Louise says they're hoping to find a new building, something like a pole barn or a space big enough for all their fridges and freezers, so they can better meet the needs of the community. For more information on the food pantry and how you can help, visit this story on idahonews6.com. In Middleton, I'm your Canyon County neighborhood reporter, Victoria Rodriguez for Idaho News 6.
6:34, and let's take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood today. A heads up for hikers. 2 sections of the trail at Table Rock are going to be closed for most of today, so crews can apply some all-weather material to help combat muddy conditions that are on their way. The iconic hike draws big crowds of visitors, and the city hopes the upgrade will help preserve the trail as the weather turns. If you are set on hiking today, you can still access Table Rock via the trailhead that starts near the Warm Springs Golf Course. It'll be a good day for hiking or biking. The College of Western Idaho continuing to grow with a ribbon cutting this morning for its new agricultural sciences complex. The state-of-the-art facility spans across 40 acres and 38,000 square feet of instructional space, and the college describes it as a modern blend of indoor and outdoor learning. The ribbon cutting is set for 10 a.m. Classes for students are already in session. And over at Kleiner Park in Meridian, the Irish Dance Studio is celebrating 20 years of existence with a special halfway to St. Patrick's Day performance. It's always a pleasure to watch these kids dance. The dancers have dedicated time learning about Irish folklore, cross-training, and enhancing their technique to bring you an authentic show that's going on from 6:30 to 8 tonight. Just bring your lawn chairs to the park's band shell and enjoy.
Football season is here, and I'm sitting down with 2 drum corps international world champions right here in Idaho. Football season is here, and that means that halftime is showtime. I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter, Keith Burrell, sitting down with Ridgeview High School's band director, as well as a Boise State student, who are both drum corps international world champions. When the whistle blows at the end of the second quarter, halftime becomes game time for this new group of students. College marching bands offer entertainment at halftime and keep the crowd amped up during games. And some students want to take their musical talents to the next level. Drum Corps International is known as marching music's major league.
DCI is, marching band at its peak. It's the best musicians with the hardest music coming together, and really putting on a full-on production of a show.
It is so high octane and intense that it is almost indescribable until you experience it and see it live.
Jeff Paradis knows a thing or two about drum corps. He's world champion with the 2009 Blue Devils and now director of bands at Ridgeview High School. 2025 saw a new drum corps become world champions for the first time in their 85-year history, and another Boise State student was part of that corps.
To the Boston Crusaders!
I mean, it was kind of unbelievable. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, it was very emotional.
You can find a link to Caden's full Boston Crusaders show in this story on our website, idahonews6.com. From Ridgeview High, I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter Keith Burrell for Idaho News 6.
The Chicago Bears unable to get it done last night against the Minnesota Vikings, but Gooding native and Bears tight end Colston Loveland saw some action, catching a pair of passes for 12 total yards in his NFL debut. The Idaho rookie also keeping local ties in an exciting partnership with Special Olympics Idaho, where athletes are invited to design a pair of cleats for him to wear on game day. Registered Special Olympics athletes are invited to submit designs that feature the Special Olympics logo and words or imagery that reflect Idaho or the NFL. If you qualify, the deadline for entry is October 1st. Learn more on the Special Olympics Idaho website.
All right, it is 6:40, and shout out to our neighborhood of the day, Twin Falls, where throughout the day it's going to be really nice and cool. You'll touch 79 into this afternoon. As we move through the week, rain chances increase. I'll have all the details you need to know.
The used car market is booming, and the risks are rising just as fast. After the break, meet the Idaho driver who bought her dream SUV only to face a nightmare in repairs, and learn why in our state you could be on your own if your used car turns out to be a dud.
When you think of submarines, fine dining probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind, but an Idaho chef is helping ensure American sailors are well fed. The future USS Idaho hosting a grand opening at its gallery. The Virginia-class nuclear-powered fast attack submarine is still under construction in Connecticut, but crews got a first taste from the kitchen a few weeks back, as Chef Melissa Massell of the Sun Valley Culinary Institute helped prepare an Idaho-inspired meal.
Elk steak and potatoes, huckleberry pie.
If you'd like to support the project, you can buy a special USS Idaho commemorative license plate when you renew your registration. The sub is scheduled to be commissioned next year and serve for at least 3 decades.
The used car industry is on fire right now. Industry watchers at iccars.com say the price of used cars has gone up for the past 5 months in a row, thanks to concern about supply and the higher price of new cars. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris with a reminder that there is no lemon law for used cars in the state of Idaho. And that can cost you a big chunk out of your pocketbook if you're not careful. Maria Juarez is finally able to drive her beloved 2017 Range Rover.
How stoked are you? Really happy to finally get this car after a year.
Unfortunately, it took more than a year to get it in working order.
It's been, rough because I have to pay the car payment, and then I don't have a car, and then I did borrow cars from family members.
Maria bought the Rover for $28,000 from Alec Motors on Fairview in July of last year. 9 days later,
it started jerking and it completely turned off.
Her story is outlined in a new lawsuit against Alec Motors. Mustafa Alec and Rob Alec, company managers, are listed as defendants. It states that the car was, quote, defective, and Alec Motors made, quote, temporary repairs which allowed for the short-term functioning of the vehicle.
The amount of block sealant that they put in here was just layered and caked in here. The failure was so catastrophic it needed the bottom end of the engine as well as the top half of the engine as well.
That's Levon Arnold, owner of Long Arm Mechanics, which works with the Better Business Bureau's Restoring Trust program. The program is designed to help customers who are the victims of fraud. Arnold took over the repairs on Maria's Rover and began negotiating with Alec Motors to pay the bill. He's the one suing Alec Motors for breach of contract, claiming nearly $14,000 for the cost of replacing Maria's engine.
You can see the difference with how shiny the carbon buildup here is. It's all been removed.
The lawsuit claims that on April 9th of this year, Rob Alec promised to pay nearly $14,000 for the repairs, and Arnold showed us several emails to back it up.
How much back and forth did you have with the dealer to try and get them to pay for this stuff?
Oh, constant. that. We have full records on every time we contacted them and gained approval.
The Better Business Bureau says they grade both accredited and non-accredited businesses on, among other things, how responsive they are to customer complaints.
Alec Motors has an F rating with the Better Business Bureau.
Now, I called Alec Motors repeatedly last week to ask for comment.
Hi, Roland.
Hey, good morning. Is Mustafa or Rob around?
No, they're on a plane right now heading this way. Hopefully they'll be here this afternoon.
And finally, a day before this story was to air, an associate told me that Mustafa wouldn't talk on camera, but he did give me this facsimile of a check that he says he used to pay Long Arm for the repairs that were made, and it was sent on August 28th. I asked Arnold if he received that money, and he said he did, but that since the case is already in court, that Alec Motors is still on the hook for things like attorney fees, interest, and storage fees. As this lawsuit makes its way through the courts, experts say for anyone looking to buy right now, it's important to remember that Idaho does not have a lemon law for used cars. So you should do your homework before signing on the dotted line.
Take your time and find a really good mechanic like Levon, and to find some good sources of information and make an informed decision about where you buy is an important lesson for all of us.
Pre-purchase inspection, that's the number one thing with increased used car sales, is get them checked out.
Unfortunately, that's something Maria didn't do.
You know, we were happy to buy something that we thought was going to be reliable, but, you know, definitely a lesson learned.
So again, the key to avoiding all this problem is to make sure that you take any car that you're interested in to an independent mechanic to have it inspected. And every legitimate car salesman will be okay with that. The Better Business Bureau says if they're not okay with you taking it off the lot to have it inspected, walk away. Also, it's always good to get a Carfax report to make sure any vehicle you want has not been in an accident. In Boise, I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, Idaho News 6.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
All right, it is 6:48, and I hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday. It's nice to see your face again and start another morning together. We are starting it off a little bit rainier than yesterday. We have some isolated showers moving from Ketchum up to Salmon, also along our west and east central mountains, just really along that general area. That's because of this low pressure system moving inland. As it does, this is going to increase our cloud coverage as we head into this afternoon, but also bring on those chances of some isolated showers. So walking you through the next couple hours, here's what you need to know. It's going to be cloudier, start waking up in our mountains on our valley floors. It'll be a bit quieter, but you'll notice clouds increasing throughout the day. And as we start to see a lot of that moisture move through the area, this will bring on those isolated showers along our east central mountains from Stanley to Ketchum. Waking up into tomorrow, it's pretty quiet, but by 4 o'clock, the eastern portion of Oregon will start to see some of those showers again, and then another rumble of thunder will be possible along those west and east central mountains. So a lot of that activity is along our higher terrain over the next day or so, and then as we head into overnight, that's when we start to see the heavier band move through our Treasure Valley. Kind of remains well into our morning, so by 7 o'clock it looks like it'll be a wet morning for us, waking up in the west central mountains and over into Baker City. As far as how much rainfall we're looking at, a lot of it focuses around just kind of the Boise area. So notice that we're not looking at too much heavy rain coming for Boise itself. If we do see that again, that'll be, looks like, into tomorrow night. But either way, this picks up just under an inch in several spots across our mountains. So just a heads up, it could bring on some heavier downpour. And if you do get caught in one of those stronger storms that does pack a punch, you could expect some small hail and even some gusty winds upwards towards 45 miles per hour. Now the rain looks to remain and continue heading into our September together. So notice that a lot of it focuses over our future rain, and this is our Euro model. This gives us a good outlook as to what we can expect through the end of the month. A lot of the heavier rain moving through Oregon and also upwards towards northern Idaho. Looks like we'll be seeing some good rain move through our valley floors, but not as heavy or dense as to what they're expecting upwards towards our north. On top of that, our wetter than normal outlook continues from September 15th through the 19th. So that just goes to show you we are looking at above average precipitation heading into this month. Even through the end of the week, we've got rain chances Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. By the end of it, we'll be be sitting with the mid-70s, and then over the weekend, 70s continue on, but it'll be a lot nicer. It'll be also a nice dry spell for us. So grab the umbrella. So just a heads up on that front. I'll continue to watch for this, especially as we get ready for our morning commutes. Speaking of your morning commute, let's take a look at your roads.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
6:51 is your time, and we are giving you a live look of downtown, where it's a pretty quiet start waking up this morning. If you are just tuning in, we're taking a look at our roads right now, and you've got I-84 eastbound looking to be a busier spot. And just to give you a closer look, you've got Caldwell Boulevard. If you had it in that southbound lane, that's where you're running into a little bit of slowdown. We also already are looking at some slowdown on Karcher Road, so heads up if you're heading into that westbound lane.
Now we'll look outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
In this morning's GMA First Look, it's the out-of-the-box way one group of friends cracked the code to shared travel expenses.
And at first we all just laughed it off. And then we were like, wait, that's actually kind of genius.
Kim Brindell and her 5 friends wanted the fun of a group trip without the money stress that comes with it. So they decided to open a joint bank account and made a pledge to each contribute money every week and then pay for everything as a group.
Instead of thinking about cost being a barrier, you just do it and you don't have to think about it. So it's made our trips actually so much more fun, and we've been able to connect so much more freely, not having to worry about money at all.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll tell you how to make these same money pooling strategies work for you and your friend group. With your GMA First Look, I'm Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News, New York.
5 minutes before the hour, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho, and we're just wrapping things up here on a Tuesday. In case you missed it, these are the top stories that we're following from our neighborhood reporters.
New details in a shocking kidnapping in the Eagle Foothills. In the Eagle Foothills, a photo shoot that police say turned into a terrifying ordeal. A man tied up, tased, and beaten. What prosecutors revealed in court about the alleged attack, and what comes next for the suspect.
A dog has become her home's hero. A Caldwell man comes home to find his dog bleeding, a bloody fork on the floor, and evidence of an intruder. His beloved pet Raven had been stabbed while protecting the family home. But when police arrived, the owner says he wished they could have done more to investigate.
In Buell, we talked to the man who survived on his own long enough to win the 12th season of the reality TV series Alone. As one of 10 contestants in the 12th season of the History Channel's reality series Alone, Olsen was dropped into the South African wild with just 10 survival items.
You know, running around in this desert, that I felt at home there in South Africa.
And of course, you can learn more about all these stories on our website. Just head to idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
All right, it is 6:56, and as you get ready to head out the door, if you grab a light jacket for your morning, you won't really need it for the afternoon. We'll be sitting with the mid-70s into 1 o'clock, so good patio weather for lunchtime. Then by the time we head into the afternoon, 82 into 5 p.m. So nice cool down, and this is just the start of it. If you want to see the rest of the forecast, head on over to idahonews6.com. Otherwise, let's get you ready to head into work and school.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
6:57 is now your time, and we are giving you a live look of downtown where commuters are now heading out. It's Tuesday morning, and as we get ready to get you into work and school, it is looking a little bit busier on I-84 eastbound, so just a heads up if you're moving on that front. We haven't seen too much change just yet, but West Chinden Boulevard still looks to be another clear spot. So if you're heading into that eastbound lane right now, your drive times are just at about 13 minutes. Along I-84 eastbound, the heftiest time right now is from Caldwell to Gary, sitting at 24, and Gary to Eagle, 9 to 8. Eagle into downtown just coming in at under 8 minutes. So heads up on that front, but otherwise pretty quiet morning so far. Thank goodness it's Tuesday, rolling tomorrow's already going to be hump day.
Yeah, indeed. 8 minutes, so you could run a mile at about that.
Yeah, you really, you know what? I could. I really could.
Has that been running quite a bit lately, or getting back into it at least? Hey, tomorrow it'll be nice to be indoors because it's going to be raining. We're going to be at the Warhawk Air Museum. 9/11 is coming up, obviously, in a day or two here, and they're opening up the new Global War on Terror wing of that museum. And we've seen sort of a little bit of a sneak peek of half of it, but the whole thing's going to open on Saturday, so we're going to get a preview of that tomorrow morning, and we'll be indoors, which will be nice.
That'll be perfect too, especially with the nice.
Have a great day, everyone.